In this video, I'll give you real numbers for the total cost to build an ADU based on actual projects that have been completed throughout California. Construction costs are one of those things that really depend on where you live. For example, San Francisco and Sacramento are only 80 miles apart, but things like permit fees and local labor costs can vary drastically between the two cities. And even though prefab and modular ADUs have come a long way, it's still cheaper to build a traditional stick-built unit with a local contractor. The building prices I'm sharing today are provided by my partner Realm, who has helped homeowners build accessory dwelling units all across California. They've broken down the total cost for a stick-built ADU across 5 major cities. If you're interested in getting started with building an ADU of your own, check out my affiliate link for Realm in the description. You can use their free project planner tool to get cost estimates, and if you decide to use any of their paid services to actually build an ADU, then you'll get $150 off if you sign up with my link. So anyways, these estimates that I'm about to provide are all in, meaning that they include architectural design, permits and fees, site work, construction, and all the finishes including appliances. Let's start off with the city of Los Angeles. Surprisingly, LA has the lowest cost to build out of any city on my list. At the low end of the range, it costs $300 per square foot. So for a 750 square foot backyard unit, it would cost about $225K total. The cost at the high end is $375 per square foot. So in that case, a 750 square foot ADU would cost $281K. Ultimately, where your cost falls within this range will depend on the complexity of your design and the level of finishes that you choose. The next city on the list is Sacramento. The cost here is $350 per square foot on the low end and $400 a square foot on the high end. And using the same 750 square foot example, the total cost to build an ADU in Sacramento ranges from $263,000 to $300,000. For homeowners in Sacramento, I'd make sure that the return on investment actually makes sense in your neighborhood because those prices are pretty high relative to the average home value there. Let's move on to San Diego, where the all-in cost for construction has a wider range compared to the last 2 cities. On the low end, you're looking at $350 a square foot, and on the high end, $450 a square foot. For a 750 square foot ADU, this translates to a range of $263K to $338K. To me, that sounds relatively reasonable considering the average home value in San Diego is almost $900,000. Now we'll move on to the Bay Area, which has some of the highest building costs in the entire country. You will get more bang for your buck in the East Bay compared to San Francisco, but building in Oakland will still cost you $375 a square foot on the low side and $450 a square foot on the high side. This works out to a range of $281K to $338K to build our 750 square foot ADU. So finally, it's probably not hard to guess that San Francisco has the highest building costs out of any city in California. At the lowest, you can expect to pay $450 a square foot, and don't be surprised if the high end comes in north of $550 a square foot. This means the range to build a 750 square foot ADU in SF is $338,000 to $413,000. And if you build anything smaller at say 500 square feet, those building costs can go up to $550 per square foot on the low end and $650 a square foot on the high end because the high fixed fees associated with building in the city can't be spread out over a larger area. So I'll throw up all 5 cities here so that you can compare them side by side. Again, the only city that really jumps out to me as being really expensive to build relative to the average home value is Sacramento. I mean, the average home value there is only $460,000 for an entire property. So I don't really see how that local real estate market could support an ADU that costs $300,000. On the flip side, $225,000 for an ADU in Los Angeles, where the average home value is $900,000, sounds like a pretty good deal. Overall, it's just really refreshing that Realm is providing transparency within a construction industry that typically keeps homeowners in the dark when it comes to sharing prices. If you're interested in the potential rental income when building an ADU on your property, then watch this video here.